All right, the Trump administration is about to triple its monetary support to what they call pro-democracy aid directly to Juan Guaido in Venezuela, whom they recognize as the legitimate president of Venezuela. Now, the $52 million aid package was unveiled earlier this week by Mark Green, the chief administrator for the U.S. Agency for International Development, better known as USAID. For more on this, let's bring in journalist and author Dan Lazare. Dan, thanks for being with us. So far, it has proven to be a failed coup against Nicolas Maduro. Why is the U.S. upping its funding for this effort?
Because it still has hope that it'll be able to throw Maduro out.
Simple as that. Just throw more money at it and they're going to be able to get him out somehow?
That's what they're hoping.
So there have been allegations, and I'm sure you've heard about this and have reported on this, the allegations of corruption and misuse of funds coming from the Guaido camp. People have been arrested for this. Do you have concerns that the U.S. aid will be mishandled and misused?
I have no information at all. I'm sure the U.S. aid will be used to strengthen the anti-Maduro opposition, with the final goal, the ultimate goal being of regime change and putting Juan Guaido in his place. But what's astonishing is that Washington is working itself up into a fury over foreign interference in U.S. politics, and now but the U.S. sees absolutely nothing wrong with massive interference in Venezuelan politics.
And speaking of this on a global scale, President Trump addressed the Venezuela issue at the UNGA. You're in New York now, in the midst of all of this. He delivered a sharp warning directly to Maduro in veiled language. He said, quote, "Liberty will prevail." How do you translate that?
Well, I think that in Trump's view, liberty means U.S. policy. So what he's saying is that the U.S. will get its way ultimately. And that's the American approach to all, increasingly the American approach to all international problems. And it's not just Trump, by the way. I mean, this is the consensus in Washington, that the U.S. way is the right way. It is the free way. It is the only way, and all other countries must bow down to U.S. power.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you see the UN responding to this news or reacting to the situation in Venezuela, since only about 50 states in the world recognize Guaido as the leader? Do you think the other states will fall in line with the U.S. Following this UNGA?
Probably more will. I can't be sure, but certainly I don't expect other nations to do very much to oppose U.S. policy in this regard. The international community has been quite spineless when it comes to reining in the United States. And remember, Trump in his UNGA speech railed against rogue nations. But the most powerful rogue nation in the world today is the United States, which has shown absolute contempt for international law or the principle of non-interference in other countries' domestic policies. It's always, one law for the rest of the world and another law for the United States. And the rest of the world has shown little willingness to oppose that point of view.
And real quick, I think a lot of people were expecting the foreign policy towards Venezuela might change with the ousting of John Bolton. The fact that he's gone and the U.S. is still continuing this move in Venezuela, are you surprised by this? Do you think that they're going to keep going until Maduro is out, or do you think there's any chance that they might open up talks with Maduro?
I'm not surprised because Trump is extremely hostile to Venezuela, to Maduro. I think that Bolton probably moved him in an even more combative direction. But Trump is always hostile himself. As to the possibility of any kind of negotiations, I'd say it's extremely unlikely, but not absolutely impossible. Trump is famous for changing his mind. And the longer that Maduro holds out, the greater the chance that the U.S. will bow to the inevitable and will recognize that some kind of diplomacy is required. That's a very minor possibility, though.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are hoping for a peaceful resolution to all of this. Dan Lazare over in New York City, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
My pleasure.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.